Hey, Josh, mind if I use your kitchen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool.
You sure that's a good idea? Don't you remember what happened last time? Nah, it'll be fine.
Dude, we're gonna need another sapphire.
Hello, Mora.
Hey, everybody out there in fandom land, I'm Paul.
I'm Joe.
I'm Josh. We're Gas Up Geeks. And here we are. We told you this would happen. Anime Part 2. Last time, Joe gave us a great history of it, and we had a lot of fun talking about the anime that we know and grew up with. But, like we said, some people, they've probably been thinking about anime. Attack of the Titans, for example, Naruto, and a couple of others are on Netflix. But some people are probably like, well, I don't know. And so what we're here to do today is discuss, if you want to get into it, what you should be watching.
Good question, my friend.
So for me, like I said in the last episode, I know virtually nothing. But there have been a couple of the modern anime I've gotten into. A few years back, a friend of mine, her husband is Chinese, but he's really big on anime. And so she told me about Full Metal Alchemist. I watched it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was really...
It is.
What made me laugh the most, though, is that the main character of Edward, who has an explosive temper about being called short. He don't like it. And he's always flipping his stack, so to speak. And his younger brother, who's stuck in that big metal outfit, is always going, well, you calm down. And I thought it was good. I mean, I watched it. You had interesting storylines. You had the 7 Deadly Sins and I can never pronounce this word properly. The Saklamai or Samaralcom, or it's not the Silmarillion. That's Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah. But Homunculi. That's the word I'm looking for.
Homunculi.
Yeah. Here we go, homunculi. Here we go, homunculi. Sorry. Momentary flashback. But yeah, so
yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Isn't that every day?
They say growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional, and that's what I'm living by.
Thank you.
So, but yeah, no, Full Metal Alchemist. It's a lot of fun. 2 brothers who tried to save their mother's life, and unfortunately in casting a spell, the younger brother, Edward's younger brother, is escaping my name in my head right now. Alphonse, that's right. Alphonse, unfortunately, there wasn't... the whole thing about their alchemy is that in order to give something must be taken, and vice versa. As a result, in trying to save their mom, unfortunately, Alphonse lost a lot of himself. And so that's why he now resides in that giant suit of armor. And off they go on a quest to try and save their mom and Alphonse at the same time. That's the basic premise, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So I just thought it was really great. And I watched I watched about the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I'm horrible for this. Watching something on like either Netflix or, I've got an Android box, so I'll start binge watching, and I'll get like, 1 season in, and then, okay, I'm going to come back to that. 3 years later, they're up to season 7 now. I guess I should watch season 2.
You're right.
So, and I know that they've, they did their series, but also they've done other ones. I think the most recent one's called Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yes.
So, obviously something big's going on there between the 2 brothers. I've heard that a live action version is coming out soon.
That is correct, sir. December the 1st.
And so, fingers crossed that the live action does it justice. I mean, as fans of any medium, one of the big problems I always see is that when they transfer, like especially from book to movie, they have to cut this subplot. They think that the actor maybe should change this, and then it ends up becoming, in a lot of cases, jumbled mess.
Yes.
So I'm really hoping that Full Metal Alchemist survives the what I call the executive butcher treatment. So
Yeah, Gatchaman wasn't so lucky. They did the live action version of it 2013, and we all know how that turned out.
no, I didn't. I guess my brain was scared to find out because I haven't seen that.
Don't.
Okay, I was about to say maybe I'll look that up online. You're the expert,
You could.
so I'm going to trust the expert.
Yeah, you could, but my suggestion don't. It's
Oh.
interesting, but after the first couple segments, you're like,
Yeah, well, no, I understand that. I mean, a lot of people call me interesting, and then once they get to know me, like, no, I'm good, thanks.
Or we just go along for the ride.
Well,
Right.
that's because you drink too.
Yeah.
All right, so for you? What's a good show to get into if you're starting off on anime?
Well, if you're starting off on anime, I want to go grassroots, to be honest. That's my approach. Like, if you want to know everything there is to know about anime, go back as far, not too far back, but as far back as you can to get the basic idea of it, the basic concepts of it. So go grassroots. And my personal recommendation is this baby, Akira. Right?
I've heard of that.
Yes.
I've heard like it was a very big epic.
It is. It is a very big epic, and you're telling yourself, hey, I mean, if you're getting me started on something that big, aren't you going a little bit overboard? Should I be started with some like little series first, like the half-hour ones? Yeah, maybe. But the reason why I want to start off with this one, which by the way, this came out in 1987, and this is the 25th anniversary version. It has the original Japanese dialogue with English subtitles. It has the original dub from Streamline Productions,
I think you're hooked now.
right? And it has the new dub from about 2001, 2002. Notable thing about the new dub,
You can't steal it.
no, because there's going to be a Power Ranger reference after this. Yes. The new dub has Johnny Young Bosch. And you know who Johnny Young Bosch played in? The Black Ranger, right?
Cool.
He plays the lead here, Kaneda, right? So, but yeah, that's the new dub. It's interesting. The reason why I prefer the old dub better is because, well, I don't know. From listening to both versions, the original version explains the plot a little better than the new one. Plus,
Well, what is the overall plot of Akira?
oh, the plot. Okay.
Yeah.
So the plot is, funny enough, 20, I think it was said 2019, 2017, 2019. Big explosion in Tokyo caused by somebody. And that somebody is Akira, who has developed extraordinary psionic powers, telekinesis, ESP, that kind of thing. So the Tokyo somehow is plunged into a post-apocalyptic state where everybody's in disarray and everybody's looking for a savior. And for a lot of people who become cultists, it becomes Akira. Now the government gets involved and says, you know what? Let's try to remake that experiment that brought up Akira, but let's try and control him this time. Right?
We tried once, it blew up in our faces. Hey! Let's try again!
Yes,
Yeah, that sounds like government at work.
it does.
Or
doesn't it?
your Saturday nights.
Yes. So
You can only get kicked out of the bar so many times.
so long story short,
Too late.
yeah. Two biker gangs were caught up in the middle of it, and one of the biker gang members happens to run into one of the psionic children that ran away. And that injured him pretty badly. The government, of course, because you made contact with that kid, they obviously have to take him away, and so he becomes the guinea pig, and therefore you've got your test subject now. And again, like you said, it blew up in their faces, right?
Governments.
So basically, he loses control of himself. Next thing you know, you see a big, massive blob, or and
Shut up!
right.
I didn't bring out a mirror.
Oh,
Look at it, but it's shattered.
yeah. So he basically murders everybody close to him. Even goes up into space. Goes up and blows up the entire interplanetary defense system, and swallows his girlfriend whole. To name a few things. But the reason why I wanted to recommend Akira is because the scope of it, the art blows you away. The story is very revolutionary. It was very revolutionary at the time, because you'd think, for a cartoon, for an animated feature, who would think up such a story, right? And the characters also were very well rounded. They're very well developed. It was just basically about two young boys. One of them gets mixed up with the wrong crowd. The other one, who used to bully him, now starts to save him, and there's this back and forth dialogue of I was always under your shadow. Why should I?
They're not named Edward and Alphonse, are they?
No, they're not.
Okay.
No, they're not. They're named Tetsuo, who's the victim, and there's Kaneda, and the
Canada?
Canada.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Canada. No, it's and what's funny too is the original dub. Here's another thing that I forgot to mention back with the '80s bit is when they were doing animated dubs in the '80s, it somehow became a thing. When you were pronouncing somebody's name, you were either saying it with gusto or screaming it out loud, right? So of course, if you look at Akira and you listen to the original dub, you're like, Tetsuo, Canada, help me, right? So they always they always stretched it, but I found that there was more feeling to it, and the plot itself is easy to understand, but you will be blown away with the story and the art and the spectacle of it, because it and it gets you thinking too, right? Because this anime focuses on human evolution and how far it's gonna go. So it's kind of a what if scenario that that will make you question stuff. Like from an evolution standpoint, we started out as primordial soup, and eventually it became amoebas, and 4 legs.
We're at one
2
point of
legs.
evolutions, not a
Right.
question of further, yeah.
Exactly, and after man, what next, right? So it's a thinker's anime is the other thing.
Cool.
Yeah. Plus, again, the bike.
That is a cool looking bike.
The bike. It's become a staple. It's become a pop culture icon. If you're ever wondering what the heck is that red bike doing here and why is everybody talking about it, that's why.
It's like Knight Rider without kit.
Thank you.
Cool. What about you?
I would say Naruto. It's just sort of a... it's a good one to get into because you kind of start with the character and you kind of grow with him as he grows. And then also the cast of characters grow alongside him. But it's his dream to be the Hokage?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. I never know how to pronounce it. So you have this goal, but you are growing with the hardships. It's also sort of a tamer anime. So it's not so much as getting into more of like a thinking anime or anything too in depth in a lot of the animes. Not to say I don't like them. It's just for a beginner, it'd probably be best to get into the genre by learning with a character that is learning as well.
Yeah, that would be nice too. I think that's a good choice because one of the popular genres for anime is the adventure genre, where that's exactly it. They start out and they go on a quest. It could be one person, it could be a group of people.
Dot hack.
Dot hack is one.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, of course.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. It caters to a huge audience. Right.
Yeah.
That audience that wants to start out on an adventure and wants to see where it leads. Right. It sates the curiosity. I mean, for little kids, it gives them that heightened sense of imagination, and for the adults, it keeps them more focused. It reminds them, hey, I got a goal, and if he can achieve his goal, why can't I? Right? So that's the reason why anime kind of resonates with a lot of age groups, and it doesn't discriminate. Right? So that's a very good choice, my friend.
Like, what is it about Material that you really liked?
I don't know. It's just the cast of characters, and it just shows you what anime can do. Like, you have everyone is a ninja, but everyone is a different ninja. So it's not just like, you have the sneak, climb, throwing ninja stars type thing. You have all the basic things that they're taught, but they can also specialize into certain things, like controlling puppets, or just specializing on physical attacks.
That's cool. But you said ninjas, though. Just one thing that always made me curious about ninjas. Ninjas are supposed to be the ultimate in stealth. Ninjas are supposed to be kept well hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So really, all the ninja movies we see, does that mean they're actually the rubbish ones?
Yeah,
Good question.
It's a conspiracy by the Japanese.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cue 80s ninja movies.
Oh god, yeah, American Ninja. They made some TV shows as well. This is like, I remember actually a friend of mine about a couple of years before Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out.
Right.
He's sitting there one day and just looks at me and goes, "Hey, Paul." Yeah. "Where have all the ninjas gone?"
Long time passing.
I was just like, yeah, especially like for me, I think I was about 9 years old, and so, Christ, you guys weren't even born yet. The big ninja movies came out in the mid-'80s that just exploded, and everything was ninja this. And one thing I love about Halloween, but I hate about Halloween at the same time, is that what ends up happening is, like this year, Wonder Woman costumes are going to go through the roof in sales.
And it did.
Yeah. Last year, it was Harley Quinn, thanks to Suicide Squad. So, I mean, I'm sitting there, I didn't go as a ninja, but I still remember walking along, and sure enough, almost every group of parents walking along had a kid dressed as a ninja, with them. The only thing, I took karate as a kid, the only thing I ever did with it was my mom actually had a pair of beige boots.
Right.
That actually came up to just below my knee, and at the time, I had the same foot size. So I've got a karate gi and beige boots.
Yeah.
I went as Luke Skywalker for Christmas, for Halloween. Christmas.
Well,
Nice.
Hey, I got the white outfit that folds over,
You
got the belt.
can go for Christmas as well.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, hey,
Why not?
a Christmas Halloween party.
Hey, and if Simon can go as a stormtrooper.
Well, Simon always goes as a
Exactly.
A friend of ours, Star Wars nut, he's got his own stormtrooper costume, so.
Right.
Yeah. We'll definitely support the troops.
Yes.
Yes.
And one thing that a ninja doesn't have is a revenge notebook, which brings us to...
Yeah, Death Note. That's another one I mentioned in the last episode that my son got me into it, and I watched it, and I mean, because I'd seen Riku, that everybody knows and loves.
Yes.
And I just, every time I saw him on, the internet and the memes, I'm just like, that's one creepy looking. Fuck up. I'm looking at this guy going, that's a weird creep. But I also just, because of the clown makeup look and all that stuff, and they say, oh, I just expect him one day to go, hello, my baby, hello, my darling, hello, my ragtime cat. It's like, no, but of course, my brain goes off.
Or maybe, let's kill the Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, if the Scarecrow and the Penguin and the Joker were all fused into one. That's how they got that look.
Rhea
That
was
is
scary.
incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
I am never going to look at it the same way now.
Not good the same way again, right?
Exactly. So, but I mean, the fact that, he's basically a Grim Reaper, and he's got his notes so that he's assigned to who he's got to collect and writes the name in the book, and that's how the people die. And then a mere mortal gets their hand on it. That was like, oh. Because, as you mentioned in the cartoon episode, my growing up with Transformers and the Arthurian code that, instilled in me by Optimus Prime, so it's like, when you watch fantasy, something like Death Note comes along and where a mere mortal gets their hands on the notebook that can cause people to die just by writing their names in it. The question, of course, comes to your mind of, what if I had that book?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what made it, and that's what made that series so unique, is because, it was another psychological thriller where it's that exact premise. Like, you've got something that will grant you near omnipotent power, and here you are, a lowly mortal. It is in your possession, and you're thinking.
But then you bring the genius cop into it that refuses to wear shoes. And, the fact that it's now it's good guy cops versus bad guy, but the guy has this weird mystical power, and how do the cops dealing with it? And he doesn't know about the book itself, because even if he knew about the book, he wouldn't know what it does. Mm. So now you just got this really intelligent mortal facing off a regular mortal with a supernatural ability, in essence,
and a higher intelligence as well.
Oh, yeah.
To match.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the really weird thing, is because it's about the intelligence and not the mystical power. That's what I've always
No, absolutely. Like, I mean, the Death Note book itself was, like, to me, a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Alfred Hitchcock, who, one of the best, if not the best, suspense directors of all time, when he made movies that surrounded something that you never actually saw, he called it a MacGuffin.
Right.
And so, anytime there's something that everything revolves around, but in essence, at the same time, you don't need it to keep the plot going, that's what that movie directors call a MacGuffin. And even in Death Note, the book itself is more of a MacGuffin because, it's got this power in it, but the fact that the guy has it, and like you say, intelligent mortal who's got this ability now, with the intelligent cop trying to figure it all out and how to stop it, and the game they play, the cat and mouse game that they're playing with each other, it's an incredibly well written series.
Yeah, I think that it's initially there as like the Death Note and as the thing that sparks it off, and then as you go along, you get all these rules and more rules and more rules.
Yeah.
To dumb it down a bit more, so it's more about Light and Akira.
I didn't take the new rules that got added on as ways to dumb it down. I took them as an intellectual challenge because it's like, if you've got, if you were to have it, you got to know the rules.
You got to know the rules, and you gotta wonder, if I break the rules, how low can I go?
Not just how low can I go, but also what, like there's the old adage that, if a reason witches become these old hags and whatnot is that any curse they inflicted came back upon them. Some cases say threefold, some say fourfold, some say tenfold. I remember a friend of mine saying never point at somebody and accusing them of something, because when you're pointing this way, you got three fingers pointing back at you.
Law of threes.
Every supernatural tale is basically for, following the law of physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So that anything you do bad against somebody, it's going to come back on you. So with the different Death Note rules that kept popping up, it's like, okay, if I had that book, how do I avoid the consequences of my actions? And this is a really intelligent guy, of course, is figuring ways, trying to figure out ways to do that as well.
Yeah. Plus, knowledge is power.
Yep.
Speaking of power, your other recommendation would be.
I think one of the best sagas, well-known sagas, Dragon Ball Z.
Kamehameha.
What was the name of the scream?
Well, which one?
Well,
There's the Kamehameha,
okay.
which is like the kind of basic attack that Goku first learns.
Yes.
Basic energy attack. Sorry.
See, when he first was telling me about it, because, we were loving the spreading of the geek, and when we found out about the Scream at Goku event, I have never seen Dragon Ball Z.
Go check it
or
out. It's actually pretty good.
any of that stuff. But I'm one of those people that just, you tell me something, and I'm like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, the name of the Scream was,
Kamehameha.
now I'm calling it the Hakuna Matata.
Well,
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata!
Of course, now I just get this image of him, like he does that shot in the cartoon, and instead of a fireball, it's a happy face. That's just,
Oh god. Well, and that's another thing. Remember,
But you'd have to dress in Dragon to the hula.
Oh! It's just like when I was in Alabama and had to be a stripper for a week and a half. That's all I'm saying. At least it paid for the car repairs.
and this is after you watched an episode of Barbed Wire.
Look, it's safely
Hold on,
my hard
I'm
drive.
still remembering.
And you see, you liked it.
Okay, sorry. My hands are here, square.
Yeah.
So no, Dragon Ball Z, yeah. Like you said, the...
Yeah, and so it starts out with Dragon Ball, and it's this. I guess again, it's that epic quest in Dragon Ball,
Right.
where you're trying to find all 7 Dragon Balls.
And
And
you get the wish.
I love the first wish. I love the first wish.
So like
Can
you
we
have to go-
spoil?
Yes.
Let's spoil. First wish, they get all the 7 Dragon Balls after.
Like you have to get all 7 Dragon Balls to make a wish? Or
Yeah,
like-
to make
Okay.
a wish. Yeah, so they're just after you make a wish, they're all scattered about the world. So they go on this
Okay.
quest to try and find them. They Bulma has a tracker for the balls.
Okay.
Ball tracker.
Yes, she does.
Ball tracker.
No comment on that. So
He's a ball
anyway,
tracker.
so they meet friends along the way that help them out. And sorry, what was the pig's name again?
Forget.
Sig.
Sig, you gotta look this one up.
And Cabbage of Shame right here.
Oh god.
But anyway, so they're on it, and it was one of those those censored ones
Right.
that came out, but I don't think it really affected it enough.
No.
But it was still good. So they got all they eventually got all the 7 Dragon Balls together, and the pig is there, and so he has Shenron, this giant dragon in the sky, just peering down on him. What is your wish? Hot pants!
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that just is
Hot pants?
hot pants, and it
Hot
just starts
pants.
raining hot
I was
pants.
gonna say for him or for like everybody?
No, it just starts raining hot pants around him. It's this epic quest, and it goes into this, and it's so. I love that they separated from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because Dragon Ball Z is sort of different from that, and that the jokes and the humor.
How many Dragon Ball blankety blanks are there?
4 seasons right now. Dragon Ball was fairly long. Dragon Ball Z was the longest, as far as I know.
250 episodes.
Yeah. So that's a good stint, and
Yeah.
it's definitely worth a watch. If
And
you
then-
haven't seen it, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And then there's Dragon Ball Z GT.
Well, that's what I was
where-
gonna say. There's Dragon Ball Z. What was the third one?
GT.
And the new one that's out. Dragon
Dragon Ball Super.
Super, yes.
Okay, well we can ignore Super because
Yeah.
I mean you were
Yeah,
saying
ignore
how
it.
much you
No,
love
no
Dragon Ball.
spoilers, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
Dragon Ball GT.
Dragon Ball Z GT. Well, look at it this way. So after the events of Dragon Ball Z, all of Goku's enemies are still wondering how the do we beat this guy?
Okay.
He's nigh on powerful, and he's immortal as hell. And how we beat him?
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Goku dies God knows how many times.
Yeah,
And yet Krillin's the one that gets the jokes about dying all the time.
right.
Yeah.
Krillin.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So they finally figured out, and they said, why don't we just make him younger? Why Why don't we just turn him into a kid? So, okay. So plan succeeds, or so they think.
So he'd be a kid, but just with a lower power level because he's not as experienced?
That's what they were hoping.
Yeah, they're hoping that it's like taking him back in time.
Right.
To
Okay.
when he was less powerful.
Go back in time and beat up Superman when he hasn't developed his powers yet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But no, he retains all his powers, and now he's got his own granddaughter, and he's training his granddaughter in the ways of the Kamehameha.
And isn't he younger than than his daughter?
Yes,
That's the weird part.
that's the weird and creepy part, but we'll all
Being younger than your own granddaughter.
But there's nothing sexual
No,
about it.
not at all.
Yet.
Thankfully.
Thankfully,
It's a Japanese
No, no,
cartoon.
G-
It's anime.
GT is over.
yeah.
Spoilers.
No, we're gonna go to the tentacles.
Oh, okay,
later.
yeah, I was gonna say no. Wait, it's anime and hentai. So okay, never mind. Sorry.
No tentacles. No tentacles.
But there's one. Really,
That's next week's episode.
Yes.
But there's one really important question though I've got to ask. 'Cause I mean, like, okay, I've said I watched Death Note and I watched Full Metal Alchemist. Pokemon I never really considered anime. It was because at least anime has sort of like a stylization that looked more realistic with their characters.
Right.
It's like having a good cartoon, a bad cartoon. Because I mean, when you see humans in like Tiny Toons, they're humans, but they don't look like trying. The artist was trying to draw a human almost exactly as good.
It's kind of like Christopher and Roger Rabbit. I forget who Christopher Lloyd's character was.
Just Doom.
Judge Doom. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Judge Doom. He looks human,
Yeah.
but not.
Exactly. So, like, Pokemon, I just consider it a Japanese cartoon, not anime. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no expert in any way, shape, or form, so if you want to call it anime, that's fine. I'm not going to argue. It's just how I felt at the time.
Yeah.
Your feelings don't count then.
Okay, then.
Oh.
I've been married. I'm used to that.
Oh.
So, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! and
Beyblade.
Beyblade and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, there's one thing I've noticed in a lot of these cartoons that a lot of things characters want to have in common. But me having the weird sense of humor that I have, I notice these strange little things and then I ask myself questions and nobody's ever been able to answer them for me, so maybe you guys can answer this for me.
Right.
In watching Pokemon, the commercials, bits and pieces of Dragon Ball Z, Naturo, Yu-Gi-Oh! And all that stuff, I just have one major important question. How the hell do they get their hair into all those freaky, funky ass positions?
Hairspray.
Dude, man, I knew people like I survived the '80s, '80s hair metal years. But even still, even in those hair metal days, you couldn't get your hair up like that.
Nobody could, and
No.
that's what
No,
they're.
this is the chakra or the chi or whatever the energy of
Yes.
that universe is
Yes.
that keeps it up like
When they go Super Saiyan.
It's got to be because
Super Saiyan or whatever it is
Yeah.
in that universe, like
Right.
with Naruto.
Well,
because I mean, like I said, I lived through the '80s, the hair metal days. I knew guys who had so much hairspray in their hair that if you were to hit them with a bat, you'd break the bat, or you would have an aluminum bat and it would dent it. But even still, these guys on all these animes, I'm sitting there going, seriously, look at me.
we're talking about Nikki Six, right?
Yeah. No, Nicky Six wears a beret, but I think he's balding.
Probably. Speaking of balding,
Um,
you're gonna love this recommendation of mine. Actually, no, the guy's bald, and it's weird too. But my recommendation to wrap it all up is One Punch Man.
One Punch Man. Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's
What
on,
is that
I've
all
heard
about?
a lot of good stuff.
Yes, I mean it's on Netflix too. This is basically, he lost his job one day and he says, "You know what? Why don't I just become a superhero?" So fast forward to about 13 or 14 years.
Oh, okay.
He's trained enough, and it's come to a point where to be a superhero, it's taken Civil War to an anime level. You know what happened with Civil War, right? The Civil War comic. Everybody
Yeah.
has to register to become a
Yeah,
superhero.
yeah. Marvel Comics Civil War series, the
Yes,
first one, yeah.
Yes, this first Civil War. So basically, they have to register to become a superhero, and after you register to become a superhero, you're relegated to teams. And the teams the teams are sent to wherever there's a catastrophe. And if you're in charge of a certain district, a certain team goes there. You're over here, right? So it's gone to that, right? And enter Saitama. That's his name, One Punch Man, right? So he just blows everybody away. Picture Dragon Ball Z with no hair, yellow jumpsuit, white cape, red gloves.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the character. Yeah.
Yes. So he blows everybody away, and everybody's like, "Who is this damn rookie?" And they're assigned grades too, right? So he's given a C grade, which is the lowest.
Okay.
Right?
See, now I'm just getting the image of the first time I saw the Tick cartoon.
Yes.
You know, where they have to come out and show what they can do. Exactly. And then get assigned, with the Tick, you're like, send them to the city.
Are you gonna go see the Amazon thing? The Amazon telecast?
I don't know the costumes.
I
look
started
a little
watching the
too
first
good.
episode. But
The costumes look a little too good
Yeah, we'll leave that
to be the Tick.
Wow.
I think the Tick will get an episode all by himself. Because, I mean, we've seen the cartoon, we've seen the first live action with Patrick Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Now the new one on Amazon. So, and yeah, that's another
Yeah.
episode. One Punch Man. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
That's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this again. You got to register to be a superhero.
Yeah.
Hi there. It's just like
Yeah, that's how he
now
comes, that's how he comes off as.
now I'm just
And-
seeing the character. So what? One Punch Man is like the Tick.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Tick. I mean, he gets pummeled, he gets hit with whatever, and all it takes for him. That's why his name is One Punch Man. All it takes is one punch.
So there you go, folks. A lot of great anime if you want to get into it to check out. There's high drama. There's funny. Everything you want in a TV show. So, thanks very much, Joe, for joining us on the anime special.
Hey, glad to have.
Josh, always glad to have you here, despite what some people may say.
Well, I'm kind of forced to. I mean, the courts have nothing to do with this.
And that's how he killed him, Your Honor.
And that's how the fight started. I'm not saying I spent a lot of time in front of the judge, but the court reporters start to think my name is fuck you again. So is there any anime that we missed that you think people should be checking out? Let us know in the YouTube comments, folks. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Until then, stay in the funny papers.
Oh, you sort of caught me at a bad time. But make sure you also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. There's some pretty good stuff there. Excuse me.